Hi, this is Richard Murray with another session of Parking Lot Theology. I want to talk to you today about the fundamental mistake Adam and Eve made that caused them to lose their place in the garden. It is a very simple concept, but it's one that we can really carry with us and try to self-apply, because that's what the truths are all about, self-applying. It's easy for us to see it in others, but to see it in ourselves. And that's this. They talked about God like they got lured by the serpent into talking about God like God wasn't in the room. All right. It would be ridiculous for us to talk about somebody that we were right next to as if they weren't there. It would be rude, but it would also be just silly and poor form. But they got lured into this idea that, well, what did God say? Did God say this? What did God really say in the past? But the obvious response would have been, well, let's ask him now. He's here. You know, he's omnipresent. He's here. He's in this garden. This is the garden of God, where we walk with him in the cool of the night, in the cool of the breeze. This is the place of fellowship with the Lord. And yet they didn't think about fellowshipping with him in the moment. And I think we make the same mistake when we get so focused on what God has done before, what God has said before, and we can actually hide behind that to keep us from hearing what God is saying now. The great joy of being a Christian is that we can interact now with the presence of God, today, here and now, that he is speaking through our conscience. He lives, the nature of Christ lives in our conscience. And that conscience, when Jesus comes to live in that fully and inhabit that fully, then prompts us and leads us into the ways of truth and love and tenderness and light. But if we get too focused on literal commands about what he may have said back then, instead of what he's saying now, we miss him in the room now. So my word, my exhortation, my advice, my own self-advice is to let's always consider that God is in the room. God is not only in the house, he is in the room, this room. And knowing that he is both immanent with an E and immanent with an I. One is he's glorious, but he's here, but he's also near. He's here and he's near. He is the Logos, and he is the goodness of God, and he is the light of God, and he is the love of God. Jesus inhabits us. We are temples of the Holy Spirit. So anyhow, I think it'll change our whole perspective. Never let someone lure you into talking about God as though he's not immediately present. God bless y'all.